NFL Sunday Ticket is now on YouTube and YouTube TV, which means that you can stay close to your team even if you don't live in their town. Like, maybe you're a Raven who married a Seahawk who got a job in the land of the Falcons. With NFL Sunday Ticket, you can watch your team's out-of-market Sunday afternoon games no matter where you live, because you shouldn't have to change teams even if you change towns. NFL Sunday Ticket, now on YouTube and YouTube TV. Go to youtube.com/presale to get $50 off.
Terms and embargoes apply. Offer ends 9/19. No refund. Subscription auto renews.
Hi, welcome to the Paddock and the Pavilion with me, your host, Stephen Wallace. After our Birdsville Races series of 4, I am today back with cricket. The 100 has just finished, and to find out more about what it's like to open the batting, I have spoken to South African Lizelle Lee, who played for the Trent Rockets in this year's tournament. Don't forget you can follow the Paddock and the Pavilion on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram, and catch up with any of our archive of episodes on Apple Podcasts, Google or Spotify. But let's hear the insightful thoughts of Lizelle. Hello, Lizelle. Thank you for joining me on the Paddock and the Pavilion to talk about the 100.
Oh, hi, Stephen. Thanks for having me.
Well, has your world slowed down after travelling around hotels for the past month?
To be honest, it hasn't slowed down until yesterday because my family was with me. So we were traveling as a family, and having a little boy with you, your day stays busy the whole time. So up until yesterday when they left, they went back to Australia. It's been really busy.
Did you get any time off during the tournament?
Yes, we had a few days where we had optional training. I feel like our team and the coach, John, was really good at that. So if it was an optional training, it was optional. So you can either go or you don't go, which I feel a lot of the players know what they need. So if you need rest before a game or 2 days before a game, you take it. So it's been really good. I feel last year when I played for Manchester, traveling felt a lot with having to travel from Manchester to London, or it just felt like a lot of time spending on a bus. Whereas I feel like when living in Nottingham, it feels like you're like in the middle. I think the longest I drove was about going to Cardiff, which was about 3.5 hours. So it was actually pretty good. It wasn't bad.
Does the travelling, when you're on the bus, does it sort of bond the team better together as well?
Oh, yeah, it definitely does. I wasn't on the team bus a lot this year. Like I said, I was traveling with my family, so we had a little boy in a car seat and a car. But it definitely does. I mean, I think if you ask a lot of players, there's always something going on, a few games. They have maybe like a little trivia going on. I think something that was actually pretty good this year with the Football World Cup that was in Australia, I think they sort of timed, because we left while they were playing, and they sort of timed it till halftime. They can have a stop, have a break, and then they were back on the bus, ready to watch the game. So it definitely brings the team together.
So was there a good buzz in the Trent Rockets team?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I think everybody gelled extremely well from the get-go, from day one. But I do feel like a lot of players has played together. I think it was Harry, me, maybe 2 more players that wasn't part of the Trent Rockets last year, or a few more actually. So, but actually, I was surprised at how quickly the team came together, and not that we always won all our games, but I think it showed on the field how good everybody was getting along.
How did it compare to playing, as you said, with the Manchester Originals for 2021 and 2022?
I can say nothing wrong about that as well. That was a very good environment. I think any team environment you go to would be different because everybody has different strategies and different ways of doing things. But yeah, the environment I've been a part of in the 100 has been really good. And I give credit to management and your leadership group who basically starts with that.
A decent wicket to play on at Trent Bridge.
Yes, yeah, it is. I was actually quite surprised. To be fair, like I've never really played on a bad wicket when I was in England. Since starting playing here, I don't know, 2016, it's really been good wickets, good batting wickets. There's always a little bit for the bowlers up front, and then as a batter, if you get through that, you can only get yourself out. So yeah, the batting of the pitches has been really good this season too. There was a bit more rain around, so the outfields was a bit slow sometimes. But I think I give credit to all the ground staff. I think they did extremely well.
You came fourth, winning 3 games, losing 4. And you had the one non-result. With the strong batting lineup that the Trent Rockets had, were you a bit disappointed not getting to the finals?
Very, very disappointed. I feel like a lot of the results didn't reflect how strong our team was. If you have a look on paper, it's a really strong team, and some of the games that we lost, we just threw it away. So yeah, we were very disappointed. But I mean, that's cricket; it's going to happen, and maybe it would have gone differently. But it's one of those things you can't always control everything.
Yeah, I looked at your results and 3 wins, 4 defeats, but say the rained off game you'd have won and you lost 1 game by 9 runs, even turning those 2 round, you're in the top 3 then.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like it just comes down to our batting unit. We started losing a lot of wickets and clusters, and I think that sort of became a trend in our team. Trent Rockets trend. No pun intended. So it sort of became a little trend in the team of when we lost 1 wicket, it became 2, it became 3, it became 4. So some games when it didn't happen, I think we won, and the games where we lost a lot of wickets, we lost. So that's definitely something that we can go back to and work individually if you're playing county or Big Bash or wherever you go to. So that's definitely something that we as players can work on.
But personally, 165 runs, how did you feel it went for you?
Not great. I was actually a bit disappointed, and it's not about the runs. It's just about I wanted to do more for the team. I wanted to contribute a bit more with the bat for the team, and I didn't do that. So I sort of, when I speak to my wife, sometimes if I get a duck every single game, but we ending up winning that game, I'll be happy. But scoring 100 and then losing the game, what's the point? So yeah, so basically my point is just I'm very disappointed in my performances. The one thing I'm trying to work on is trying to be a bit more consistent in making runs and making sure we get the team over the line, and I feel like I failed at that. So yeah, it was a bit disappointing.
You had quite good partnerships though with Bryony Smith, who had a very good tournament. You had 3 stands of over 50.
Well, to be fair, I think that was all her. I was actually so amazed because I've played with her a few years ago when we played when there was still the Kia Super League and we played for the Surrey Stars. And to see her bat now and compare to where she batted then it's like it's a different person. She's very confident in all her shots. It's positive. I was standing there at the other end and it's like, wow, why can't I just do that? She's batting so well. So I was actually I was surprised and I was amazed by how good she batted. She's always been a good player, but I was just this year in this 100, it was just different to see her batting, and I loved it. I loved every moment.
Do you think Brian is someone that England should consider for the T20 side?
Oh, 100%. I was actually quite surprised. Yeah, she should definitely be in there.
There was a lot of talk in the media about the white ball this year swinging more. Did you find that opening the batting?
Not really. I did definitely feel it in our last game with Marizanka bowling to me, and she sort of got me a few times with the ball swinging away. So I did hear a lot of the commentators speaking about that, and they definitely, if you have a look at Anya Shrubshaw, Lauren Bell, like it's whooping in. So there has been a bit more swing, I think, but I haven't really felt it that much.
You're also keeping wickets, so there's lots to do. One of the questions I was going to ask you is that a lot of batters are lapping and reverse sweeps and things like that, and hitting the ball back past the wicketkeeper. It's quite a dangerous game now when you're standing up, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I don't really like wearing my helmet, but as you have to do when you stand up, and I'm actually very glad I did, because I think in one of the games against Birmingham, Sophie Devine nicked it and hit me straight in the groin. So that would have ended really bad if I didn't have a helmet. So yeah, but the game is improving so much, and I think we're going to see more of that from more players, because it just opens up an extra area. If you could score behind the wicket, you get a change of field and you can score in front of it again.
So opening the batting, are you always looking where the fielders are? And you've got this mirror, because we're constantly moving fielders around, and you're having to hit the ball sometimes just where there's gaps.
I don't really think about it that much. Yes, you have a look at where the fielders are, but I feel like personally for me, I have to try and make my area basically all about me. That's going to sound a bit big-headed, but I have to make it all about me and not worry about a fielder or anything else. So I just have to look at the ball, play the ball as it comes, and actually hoping it goes into a gap and hopefully gets to the boundary. So, but yeah, I think a lot of batters would, how can I say it, basically look at the field and concentrate a lot on that. I just don't do it.
Were the Southern Brave worthy winners in the end?
Yes, definitely. I am happy they did it. I'm happy for Anya Shropshire, who got the send off she definitely deserved after a lot of years in cricket. Look, Southern Brave have been consistent throughout the 3 years that it's already been involved in cricket. So they've been doing extremely well, and this year was no exception. I think they lost one game out of all the games. So if you have a team going through the whole tournament losing one game, where all the other teams, I know there was a lot of rained out games, but there wasn't a lot of wins. So I feel like the board was pretty close from four down. So they definitely did deserve it.
You mentioned Anya Shrubsole and Catherine Sciver-Brunt. They both had good send-offs during the tournament, especially Anya being the captain of the winning team.
Yeah, definitely. And we can throw another one in there, Alex Hartley. I think look, she was an exceptional player too. And it's sad to see three players going away, and it's some of the best players that I've played against. I've always hated playing against them. So yeah, I've played with Anya Shrubsole a long time ago, a few games for Somerset and for Western Storm, and that was actually so much better playing with her. And then now with Catherine Sciver-Brunt, I would definitely say it's better to play with them instead of against them. So I was actually sort of happy to play the last game that she played with her. Yeah, she's such a good person, and yeah, she deserves everything. All of them deserve everything that comes their way in this future.
Lots of young England players in the tournament. Which ones stood out for you?
It's a good question. There was actually a few. I'm not going to name any names. There's honestly a few like legs that bowled for us, and our team did extremely well. But the one thing I can say about is cricket in England, the future looks bright. I mean, there's players in this county teams that I feel can walk into any international side and play for them. They've been doing extremely well, and you can actually see a difference from 1 year to the next year with all players batting. Their skills are improving, bowling, their skills are improving. Some bowlers last year that sprayed it around a bit with the bowling did so much better this year. And that just shows you all these resources that are going into players, and some of them are now making their debuts. I mean, Maika Gore, I played with her last year at Manchester, and she's a really good bowler. I mean, she's only 17 or 18 years old, and she bowls the way she bowls, and I think she's only going to get better over time, and she's now going to have maybe the opportunity to represent England.
Just going back a bit, when you're opening, is the power play crucial as an opener?
Yes, I think so. I feel the ball is a bit harder, especially in games where the field might be a bit wet. And obviously you only have two players outside of the ring. So It's not, if you don't have a good power play, it's not the end of the world, but it would be good to have a power play where you can score most of your runs in those first 25 balls. So I feel it is important, but it also isn't the end of the world if you don't get what you wanted.
That's a good point, because they sometimes say on the television that you've got more time than you actually think, even though there are only 100 balls.
That's true. That is very true. I've learned that the hard way. So it's actually interesting if you think about it. Even if you go out in the nets in a training session, let's say you bat for 20 minutes, but you're batting with a partner. At the end of the day, you probably only faced 50 balls, which is not even 100 balls. So going into a game and actually realizing there's so much more time than you think is something that players can work on, and trying to get that mental side of it just ready.
One thing that must be different in franchise cricket and 100 cricket, especially as an opening batsman, you're constantly getting changes of bowlers. You could have 25 balls and 5 different bowlers.
Yeah, or you can have the same bowlers, two bowlers. So but that's a thing, especially in the 100 and T20 games. I mean, you can have some of the best bowlers that has a really bad day, and you can hit them for a lot of runs. And on the other days, you can have them bowling to you, and you are standing there 10 balls with 2 runs on your name. So it can go either way, and I think that is one of the areas that women cricket has really improved on. It's maybe used to be more of a batter's game. I don't think it is. I feel like bowlers have developed all these skills, which is so good that if they get the wickets they want, the pitches that they want, they can actually pull batters back a bit more. So yeah, the skills has improved so much.
You've played a lot in the WBBL. How does the 100 compare to that?
I've had this question a few times, and I don't always know how to answer it because it's two different tournaments, and it's never going to be the same. The only thing I would say, the quality, you can probably say it's, you have the 100, which is like what, 7 or 8 games now. I think 7 games, but you can't really compare that to the Big Bash, who has 14 games. So but the quality of both tournaments, I think, is really good. The organization behind the scenes, I feel, is really good. And the quality of the players is extremely well. I mean, having international players, some of the best in the world, playing with your local players just makes them better. I mean, they can ask questions. They get to work and get to play with people that they maybe looked up to, and that just improves them. So it's a tough question to answer, but because it's different to tournaments, but I feel like both are equally good.
But from what you're saying, the 100 can only benefit to the development of England's women cricketers.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you're playing with the likes of, I mean, like a Marizon Cup. I mean, she's one of the best bowlers in the world, and you have young players that get to ask a question. Catherine Silver-Brunt, that just retired. I mean, she's been playing for what, 2 decades, and you have all these youngsters that can go to her and pick her brain and ask questions of, what do you think about this? And I actually sat in the change room every time I got out, and the way she speaks about the game and the way she thinks about the game is so much different than how I think about the game, because I'm only looking from a batter point of view, where she looks from a bowler, but also with a bit of a batting insight. So definitely, players can only benefit from playing in the 100 or the Big Bash or any sort of tournament.
And the future, you're staying in the UK to play for the Blaze in the Rachel Hale Flint Trophy. Looking forward to that.
Yes, very. So I know the team's on the top of the log, which is great. I think they've been doing extremely well. So I'm looking forward to the next month and the next few games that lie ahead, and hopefully I can contribute more to the team, and not the way I did for the Trent Rockets.
And then will you be playing in the WBBL in the winter?
Oh well, yes, I am, and the draft is coming up this Sunday, which will probably be day in the UK. So it's going to be interesting to see how the draft goes, and yep.
Next year, hopefully back for the 100.
Yeah, finger crossed. I mean, that's again something that's out of my hands. Obviously, it goes on performances, and I told you earlier that I was a bit disappointed in mine, but yeah, there will be another draft next year, and hopefully, I get picked up in that.
But women's cricket, worldwide continues to grow. You had 21,636, a new domestic record for the English game at the final at Lords.
That's incredible. I mean, I saw that when it came onto the screen. I was like, how good is cricket at the moment? I mean, if you take a look, let's say 3 years ago when it started, there was a decent amount of crowds. And I remember last year playing, I don't even think we ever had a game with less than 5,000 people, which in a men's game is probably not a lot, but in a women's game, that's so many supporters watching the game. And now to the people that played in the final, having a crowd of 21,000 people is amazing. So again, it just shows you how far women's cricket has come in the world, actually, not even in this country, but in the world.
Yes, and today, as we're recording, women's match fees for the England women's team have been increased with immediate effect to the same level as the men's players.
Yeah, I saw that. I think New Zealand let that I think it was last year or beginning of this year when they did that equal match fees for men and women. South Africa did announce that last week, and England today. So that is amazing. So hopefully all the other countries would see that and follow them.
Must be very exciting for someone like yourself who's, played cricket for, say, 10 years now to see what's happened in the last few years.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we all knew the game's going to go forward if people jump on the bus. And I feel like this past 2-3 years, more boards, more organizations has done that. I feel like women's cricket is going in a very strong direction. And it's happy to see. I mean, you can actually now, growing up as a little girl, you can actually make this a real living, whereas a few years ago, it wasn't really a professional thing that you can do. It's not a thing where you can make money. Whereas now, if you can play county, you can play for your country, you can play in all the T20 leagues. You can actually do it for a living, which is great to see.
Yes, because there's lots of young girls can see other young players like, Alice Capsey, who is so young anyway, making a career of cricket.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually amazing to see how young some of these players are. So, I mean, if you have a look at Laura Wolford, she's been playing for what 6 years now, and she's only 21 or 22 or something. So, Alex Capsey is another bird. Like she's so young, and she has such ahead of her if everything goes well. So, yeah, I feel like there's going to be more T20 leagues, hopefully for the women like these for the men, and again, it's only going to get stronger.
Well, thank you very much, Lizelle, for talking about the 100 and the wider cricketing world in women's cricket. And thanks for joining me on the Paddock and the Pavilion.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
Sports Social Podcast Network.